from Bowman Live. Let me give you an update on what's happening down in Louisiana. The headline in USA today reads Hurricane Francine makes a landfall as Louisiana residents they brace for the impact. So let's get right down to it. Louisiana is being greatly affected by the hurricane. Hurricane Francine made landfall along the Louisiana coast as a Category 2 storm on Wednesday, threatening the region with a deadly storm surge and knocking out power to tens of thousands. Francine made landfall in the parish of Terrebonne, about 30 miles southwest of Morgan City, the National Hurricane Center announced at 5 p.m. Maximum sustained winds are estimated to be near 100 miles per hour. Louisiana residents had braced for the storm's impact after Francine strengthened into a Category 2 hurricane. At 8 p.m. local time, Francine was 50 miles west-southwest of New Orleans as the storm threatened portions of the region with a life-threatening storm surge, heavy rains, and hurricane-force winds, according to the Hurricane Center. Francine weakened to a Category 1 as it moved inland with sustained winds of 85 miles per hour. According to the Hurricane Center's 7 p.m. CDT forecast discussion, the storm was expected to continue battering the central Louisiana coast on Wednesday evening. A significant flash flood potential may be unfolding in the New Orleans area, the Weather Prediction Center warned Wednesday evening. The National Weather Service urged people in a social media post to stay off the roads and continue to shelter in place. No one is out of the woods yet. We have received many calls asking if it's over. The Weather Service in New Orleans said on X the worst hasn't approached any area except for Terrebonne, and even then the south side of the eye wall is not on shore. The storm swiftly knocked out power along the Louisiana coast as more than 151,000 outages were reported by Wednesday night. According to USA Today's Power Outage Tracker, footage from television stations and social media showed water flooding streets amid heavy rainfall, high winds, shaking trees, and utility poles and damaged roofs. Louisiana Governor Jeffrey Landry said the National Guard had been mobilized and had almost 400 high water vehicles, 87 boats, and 50 helicopters ready to aid rescue and recovery efforts. He urged residents to follow instructions of local officials, including evacuation if necessary. Some good news, the Hurricane Center said Francine was expected to rapidly weaken after making landfall. Francine was forecast to move into Mississippi, then northward into the Mississippi Valley as a tropical depression, reaching Memphis by Thursday night. So these are the recent developments. The National Weather Service issued a flash flood warning for New Orleans and the surrounding areas as the strongest winds and heaviest rain approached the New Orleans metro area. Gusts up to 70 miles per hour were recorded at 7 p.m. and 5 miles east-southwest of New Orleans. Between 3 and 4 inches of rain has fallen in the northwestern part of Terrebonne Parish, and up to another 3 inches is expected, the Weather Service said at 7 p.m. CDT. In St. Mary Parish, between 2 and 7 inches of rain had fallen by 5:42 p.m., and the Weather Service warned additional rain was expected to cause flash flooding. The Mississippi Department of Education reported numerous school district closures on Wednesday and Thursday due to severe weather. President Joe Biden late Tuesday approached the Louisiana Emergency Declaration, approved the Louisiana's emergency declaration after state officials delivered a letter urging him to approve the request. The federal emergency declaration will help response and disaster relief efforts. In Texas, Governor Greg Abbott cited a high probability of life-threatening storm surge and urged residents along the Gulf Coast to follow the advice of local officials, including possible evacuations. The National Weather Service in New Orleans said the storm's impact could last through Thursday morning, with coastal flooding, high winds, drenching rain, and even tornadoes. The office warned that areas along and west of the Pearl River should prepare for damaging winds, while some bayou and lower river parishes should prepare for hurricane winds. Other likely issues will include power outages and damage to trees, mobile homes, and roofs. Conditions will be deteriorating throughout the day. Make sure you have all preparations rushed to completion ASAP, the office tweeted. Then prepare to hunker down and shelter in place through the overnight hours. Several parishes on or near the Louisiana coast earlier issued mandatory evacuation orders, and the State Transportation Department issued evacuation maps. In the parish of Terrebonne, where Francine made landfall, a parish-wide curfew will remain in effect until the storm has subsided and the roads are clear. The city of New Orleans was distributing sandbags at 5 sites. After distributing tarps, fuel cans, and canned food to about 300 families on Tuesday, New Orleans charity Below Sea Level Aid paused efforts on Wednesday as Francine approached Louisiana, according to the group's executive director, Jack Wagos Pack. Officials in Jefferson Parish, a parish in the greater New Orleans area, urged residents to limit water usage during the storm due to the aging sewer system, according to President Cynthia Lee Shing. The system is getting overwhelmed, Shing said at a Wednesday news conference. The water has nowhere else to go and it's getting backed up. Lee Shing said the parish received numerous reports on Wednesday about residents who were unable to flush their toilets and manhole covers that were bubbling up. Parish officials advised residents to avoid activities such as washing dishes and doing laundry in an effort to minimize overloading the sewage system. The officials added that the parish has over 500 lift stations with more than 1,800 pump workers working to keep the system down. Crews are working diligently and out investigating sewer backups. Now, however, they will be off the streets once the winds reach 35 miles per hour, the parish said. Police in the coastal community of Morgan City in the projected landfall area of the storm issued a curfew from 11 a.m. Wednesday to 6 a.m. Thursday. Residents were asked to shelter in place. Trenton Ho, who lives and works in Morgan City, says he's not worried. Ho, a cashier at the 5th Street store, said business was brisk Wednesday morning because most stores in the city of 12,000 people were closed ahead of Francine. His own preparations include freezing a can of water so it stays cold if power goes out. I'm not the least bit concerned about this storm, Ho 32 told USA Today on Wednesday. I was born and raised here. When you have lived here your whole life, you are used to this stuff. Francine may pose a similar threat as it moves across the southeastern United States. Tornadoes are likely on Wednesday in southeastern Louisiana, southern Mississippi, and southern Alabama. The tornado risk is expected to expand to a larger area on Thursday. Tornadoes are likely on Wednesday in southeastern Louisiana, southern Mississippi, and southern Alabama as Francine makes its inland. AccuWeather warned the tornado risk is expected to expand to a larger area Thursday and could linger into Friday. Some dry air has become entrained into Francine's circulation. It may increase the number and intensify of severe thunderstorms, which could boost the number of tornadoes, AccuWeather senior meteorologist Alex Sawatsky said. Mobile, Alabama, Montgomery, and Huntsville in Alabama, Tallahassee, Florida, and Toledo, Mississippi are some of the largest population centers that face a tornado threat. AccuWeather said, adding that tropical downpours may make the tornadoes difficult to see, raising the danger to lives and property. A hurricane warning was in effect from the Texas-Louisiana state into Grand Isle, Louisiana. A tropical storm warning reached across the Louisiana coast from Grand Isle through Lake Pontchartrain and for the southern Mississippi and Alabama coast. Francine is expected to bring storm into rainfall of 4 to 8 inches Local amounts up to 12 inches across southeastern Louisiana, Mississippi, far southern Alabama, and the Florida Panhandle are possible through Thursday night. The Hurricane Center said the rainfall could lead to considerable flash and urban flooding. Mandatory and voluntary evacuations were in effect in many Louisiana parishes, including Terrebonne and Laforge. Shelters opened up in Terrebonne Parish. Mandatory evacuations in Laforge Parish include residents in a FEMA provided housing unit or a state issue RV camper. The storm prompted oil and gas companies in the Gulf of Mexico to stop production. Energy companies shut in 412 zero barrels per day of oil production, about 24% of production, and evacuated staff from 130 production platforms, the Bureau of Safety and Environmental Enforcement said Tuesday. About 26% of Gulf natural gas production, or natural gas production, was offline. According to reports submitted to the offshore regulator, the region is home to about 15% of U.S. oil production and 2% of natural gas output, Reuters reported. Sources familiar with operations at ExxonMobil Corp's Baton Rouge, Louisiana refinery also told Reuters that it was cutting back production as Francine was forecast to pass just east of its location. The company plans to cut production to as low as 20% of the refinery, 522,500 barrel per day capacity by Wednesday when Francine comes ashore. So this is some of the footage here. I'm just going to show you some of the damage that has been done to this hurricane. And as you can see, people's lives are affected. Property has been damaged. I'll put it up one more time. So these warnings should be taken seriously down in the Louisiana area. So Francine is the third hurricane this year to make landfall on the Gulf Coast. For now, I'm Tyrone Bowman. Never surrender, never quit.